the human advanced practice registered nurse, the human ambulatory care nurse, the human business nurse, the human bariatric nurse, the human camp nurse, the human cardiac care nurse, the human cardiac cath lab nurse, the human case management nurse, the human clinical nurse leader, the human clinical nurse specialist, the human community health nurse, the human complementary health nurse, the human correctional facility nurse, the human critical care nurse, the human dermatology nurse, the human developmental disability nurse, the human diabetes nurse, the human dialysis nurse, the human domestic violence nurse, the human emergency nurse, the human ethics nurse, the human family nurse practitioner, the human flight/transport nurse, the human forensic nurse, the human gastroenterology nurse, the human genetics nurse, the human geriatric nurse, the human gerontological nurse practitioner, the human gynecology/obstetric nurse, the human health policy nurse, the human hematology nurse, the human HIV/AIDS nurse, the human holistic nurse, the human home healthcare nurse, the human hospice/palliative nurse, the human independent nurse contractor, the human infection control nurse, the human informatics nurse, the human infusion nurse, the human international nurse, the human labor and delivery nurse, the human lactation consultation nurse, the human legal nurse consultant, the human licensed practical nurse, the human long-term care nurse, the human managed care nurse, the human medical surgical nurse, the human military and uniformed service nurse, the human missionary nurse, the human neonatal intensive care nurse, the human nephrology nurse, the human neuroscience nurse, the human nurse anesthetist, the human nurse attorney, the human nurse educator, the human nurse legislator, the human life care planning nurse, the human nurse midwife, the human nurse practitioner, the human nurse researcher, the human advocacy nurse, the human nurse entrepreneur, the human nursing executive and nursing CEO, the human nurse manager and nurse administration specialist, the human quality improvement nurse, the human nurse writer, author, or historian, the human occupational health nurse, the human oncology nurse, cancer nurse, the human operating room nurse, perioperative nurse, the human ophthalmic nurse, the human orthopedic nurse, the human otorhinolaryngology nurse, head and neck nurse, the human overseas, volunteer, missionary, or refugee nurse, the human pain management nurse, the human parish nurse, the human pediatric endocrinology nurse, the human pediatric nurse practitioner, the human pediatric nurse, the human para-anesthesia nurse, pre-anesthesia and post-anesthesia nurse, the human perinatal nurse, the human plastic surgery nurse, the human poison information specialist, the human psychiatric nurse practitioner, the human psychiatric nurse, the human public health nurse, the human pulmonary care nurse, respiratory nurse, the human radiology nurse, the human registered nurse, RN, the human rehabilitation nurse, the human reproductive nurse, the human rheumatology nurse, the human sexual assault nurse examiner, the human school nurse, the human subacute nurse, the human substance abuse nurse, the human supplemental/agency nurse, the human surgical nurse, the human telemetry nurse, the human telephone triage nurse, the human toxicology nurse, the human transcultural nurse,